Hi guys, welcome back to Mum's Eye View. I'm Michaela from Miss Budget Beauty, and today I'm going to go through a recipe with you using cornflakes in a not so usual way. Now I'm a big fan of general kind of breakfast cereals being added to things that you wouldn't normally necessarily use them for, you know, not normal breakfast foods, whether that be kind of with chocolate desserts. I mean, it's just been Easter and my favourite byproduct of Easter is chocolate cornflakes. It's my favourite thing. In actual fact, and this is kind of a guilty secret because I know you're supposed to leave them to set and they're supposed to be little cakes, but the best thing in the entire world is to substitute the milk in your cornflakes for melted chocolate. It's like an instant hot dessert. It's amazing. If you've never tried, I mean, I can't imagine that you've never tried it, but if you've never tried it as an actual dessert, an intentional dessert, if you've only eaten it as kind of an after making the buns, just try it. It's amazing, and you don't need as much chocolate if you put it on, so it's, let's say it's healthier. So I'm already kind of a big fan of that, but today I'm trying a completely new recipe. One thing I want to mention before we kind of get into it, you may have seen or listened to, watched some other people's videos on this channel where they've mentioned changes to this particular channel. Now, I don't know specifically what these changes are going to be. All I know is they're going to be big and exciting and you're going to want to stick around for them. So make sure you're subscribed to Mum's Eye View so that you don't miss anything when these things do change. The recipe is a hybrid of a couple of different ones that I found online, but the initial inspiration came from a particular article on asdagoodliving.co.uk called 5 Unexpected Ways to Cook Up a Storm with Cereal. And the particular one that I was looking at of the 5 was crunchy fruit crumble, which gives a couple of different options how you can use cornflakes in hot and cold desserts with kind of stewed fruit. And I decided to use it in the way that you would substitute a crumble top of a pie with cornflakes. And it does suggest that if you want kind of the ultimate version of this, that you would add it to a crumble. So whether you use kind of a packet mix of crumble or you just do it for yourself. I know it's easy, but it's just effort. But wouldn't it be great if you could be even lazier and just do the one step and it's cornflakes that you already happen to have in your cupboard, because everybody has something like this, don't they? So all I did was stew the fruit. I literally got my apples, cut them up, peeled them, all that jazz, obviously washed them first, put them in my pan with a little bit of water and a little bit of sugar. This is all to taste. I quite like them to be still quite tart. Now you'll see at the end of the video, not necessarily to Milo's taste. My son, not a big fan of the way that I stewed the apples. I think he would want more sugar, but I loved them. I ate an entire bowl whilst they were still a little bit too hot and slightly burnt my tongue. And then I waited for them to cool down for him to test them, and he wasn't the biggest fan. He seemed to kind of be all right with it, but he didn't finish the bowl. So I think perhaps for younger kids or a sweeter tooth, you'd want a little bit more sugar than I added, but I felt like I put quite a lot in. So I stewed my apples, put the lid on the pot for, I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes before they started to get all puffy, and then I put that mixture into an oven-proof dish is the word I'm looking for, and then I just put cornflakes on top. It was so easy. I put cornflakes on top and then a little bit of sugar, again, to kind of add a little bit of sweetness. Whether that's necessary or not, I don't really know. I could probably have done without it, but again, sweeter tooth among you may want that. And at this point, I wasn't sure how many cornflakes to put in, because obviously it's not actually all going to stick together. You could kind of add treacle or something at this point if you wanted to, but that's not really what I wanted to do. I wanted to make it as simple as possible and potentially pretty good if you were trying to be a little bit healthier, because cornflakes and stewed apples, you can really monitor how much sugar that you put in there, and it's a fairly healthy dessert if you wanted to do it that way. I would actually put loads more cornflakes in than I did, but I really liked the toasted cornflakes on top. I would kind of do half and half, but it's really going to depend. Again, perfectly easy to customize this for yourselves. Put it in the oven for about 20 minutes at about 200 degrees, and it was done, and it was perfect, and it was so delicious, and it was such an easy dessert to have, and all I needed really was 2 things. It was so easy. 2 other ways that I have been known to use cornflakes in the past, other than chocolate cornflakes, that I wanted to mention. I have put them in biscuits and they are amazing. You know when you might put like oats in biscuits to give it a little bit of texture and a little bit of crunch? Oh my God, try cornflakes in a biscuit mixture. So good. I used to do that all the time, and doing this just totally reminded me of my youth. I used to make them all the time when I was a teenager, and I'm going to give them a go again this week. And the other thing, which no one has ever heard of, I've mentioned this to my husband and I keep threatening to make it because he says he can't imagine what it's going to be like. But I used to have, my grandma used to make cornflakes and bacon. I know that sounds insane, but it was so good, and I haven't actually attempted this for myself as an adult, but I'm going to try it very soon, because this has just totally opened my eyes to the fact that I'm not using cornflakes as much as I should be. But I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it was maybe useful for those of you thinking of potentially looking at other ways to use cereal. Who's doing that? I don't know, but you should be, because it's a thing. There are 4 other things that you can read on this article about how to use in various different dishes, some of which are savoury. I would recommend you give it a read. But yeah, if you do give this a go, please tweet, Instagram, whatever else, and show me how it's turned out and whether or not you enjoyed it, and maybe how much sugar you ended up using, because I was just kind of like giving it a go and having a guess. But I'd be interested to know if those of you that are maybe trying to be a bit healthier could use considerably less sugar, and how you modify this recipe, or potentially other recipes that you know to use cereal that aren't just cereal with milk. Answer on a postcard. Leave us a comment below, and I will see you guys next time.